My name is Faisal. I'm from Saudi Arabia, and I was scheduled to take the LSAT because I'm applying to law school this year for the class of 2021. And I took the July LSAT, but I had some technical issues with it. It was canceled, and then I decided to take the October one. I'm sorry, there's something. I'm taking the October one. And I saw actually your course. The logic games kind of videos helped me a lot. I bought the 1 month schedule plan, and I did most of the logic games, and I've seen like a massive improvement on my score in the logic games. So I decided to take the course, give it a try, actually try to maximize my knowledge out of it, and then maybe maximize my score as well. I'm hoping for that.
Fantastic. Well, I'm excited to have you on board, and I'm sorry to hear about what happened with the previous LSAT, but there have, of course, been many issues with the LSAT Flex, and hopefully and presumably each administration will get better and better. So I'm hopeful that your retake will go more smoothly.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that too. Yeah.
What are some particular areas that you're struggling with or any challenges you're facing right now?
Yeah, so mostly actually with I think this is very typical for a lot of international students without their English as native language, is their reading comprehension. And given my background, I did engineering a degree. It's like I think I can improve a lot in the logic games, and that was like an easy part. But then when it comes to logic, to reading comprehension, that was the hardest part ever. And I think even if I keep reading books, I see like little improvement on using the techniques there are on my reading comprehension. And probably it comes up because of, I think mostly because of the speed. I usually skip one paragraph. There's no way, usually I complete 3 paragraphs, and then with the fourth one, it just gets all the answers. And no matter what I do, just like I cannot reach there. That's my biggest weakness. And it's the part where I can improve a lot on in my score.
Yeah, I hear you. It sometimes doesn't come the most naturally. It's harder to improve on for sure. Just takes more practice, more exposure. How many passages would you say you've done?
As number of total passages, or
yeah.
You mean usually?
That you've done total?
I'm not sure. I've done a lot of practice tests in the past, like drill sections in the using the law hub passages, and you go like to some sections, and yeah, I've done like I think over 40, probably 30.
Okay, that's great. That's a good number to get a general sense. And what's your general approach been like in terms of note-taking, highlighting, summarizing, underlining, all of that?
Yeah. So in the beginning, I used to highlight a lot of things and then actually take a bit of summary for each paragraph. And I do well when I do that. It's actually, I solve most of the questions when I do that, but it takes a lot of time. So I take usually 15 minutes per passage when I do that. I get most of the questions right. But yeah, it comes at the compensation of missing out on the other passages. So if I do that, I just solve 2 passages with most of their questions. And then I change to the technique of hiding a little bit without making any summary, and then just take a brief timing at the end of each passage to remember what happened and what I actually read, to try just to comprehend what I read. But yeah, I saw no improvement. The last kind of technique is just no highlights at all. Just keep reading it, and then think about the points and just start solving the questions. And I think I see most of the improvement when I just do that because of the timing issue. So I don't waste a lot of time writing or highlighting and that's it.
Interesting. So it sounds to me like you've experimented with a few different techniques, but when your time is running out, you change your approach. So your approach will vary based on the amount of time remaining and how much time pressure you're feeling. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. When time approaches, usually I just guess the answers. That's what, maybe it's not the right thing to do, but that's what I do. It just, okay, there is one passage that I have to guess all the answers, just randomly choose a B's or C's or D's. Yeah.
Well, you should certainly guess if you're out of time. There's no guessing penalty, so it's definitely worthwhile. But what I'm thinking more about is that your initial technique may take you longer than the time that you have, such that you're forced to adjust your technique in order to speed through the remaining passages.
Yeah. I see your point. I'm not sure how I can do that. I mean, like, how can I adjust the technique in order to go through all the passages? Maybe if I keep practicing or try with that. But so far, I have experimented these three techniques, and I see, even with the last one, without taking any notes, I usually take 4.5 minutes per passage, and that's considerably a lot of time. Most students take 3 minutes to finish a passage, and once you go beyond 3 minutes, that's your risk of missing a lot of questions goes much higher.
Yeah, that's fair. And that's pretty much what I say as well. I say 2.5 to 3 minutes on the initial read, ideally. If you spend 4.5 minutes on your read, then you're getting well less than a minute per question. But my question for you is, when you take no notes, what does it feel like, and what's your overall accuracy like on the passage as a whole?
Yeah, it depends. So some of the passages, especially science ones and economics, and the ones that I'm really familiar with, I do really well at, because I'm not sure why. Maybe I understand that it's in the LSAT that the content of the passage does not really matter, but I feel like it really matters, because if I'm familiar with the passage, I can just like comes naturally when I read it. While the one with the law ones, usually I struggle with a lot. And that's kind of contradiction, like I'm going for law school, but that's the one that's really hard, honestly. And usually I miss most of the questions if I don't take notes, and the passage is extremely hard. So there is no point. Sometimes I feel like there's no point of actually reading the whole passage. Maybe I just skip it and go to the next one, which is like easier one for me, or I'm more familiar with.
Let me ask you this, Faisal. What would it take to get you to a point where you could apply the same technique consistently on all passages and not run out of time?
What would take me?
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't know.
Well, you've laid out 3 different techniques, and it sounds like you're using all 3 of them within the same section. Like, you'll start with one technique, maybe that's your favorite, maybe you think it's the ideal one, but you run out of time. Then you switch to the next technique as as things heat up for you, as the stress builds. Then you're running out of time yet again. So now you go down to the minimal technique of no note taking at all.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I've been experimenting with. Exactly.
So when you've experimented with each of these 3 techniques, which one have you liked the best, and which one got you the highest accuracy?
The last one, I think. The last one. But probably there is a bias, because I have tried the last one when I have already practiced a lot of reading comprehension. So maybe actually my speed has increased over time, or maybe I'm just getting used to these LSAT kind of passages. So that's the kind of bias. Is it the best technique? I'm not sure, but I can see an improvement. I can see that I started actually, like, my score is really bad in reading comprehension. I started with about 7 questions, right, or 80 questions. And then lately I've been getting around 15 or 16 with the last technique of not taking any notes. And yeah, my aim is to go above 20. That would be ideal.
It sounds to me like if that's what you like the best, even if you used it initially when you hadn't done as much theory, that's fine. There isn't as much theory or conceptual information to learn for reading comp. It is much more about experimentation and finding what works for you. I certainly have my own ideas. I've laid them out in the course in depth, both in the foundational portion of the course, as well as in the masterclass videos. But I ultimately recommend that most students adopt a strategy of writing very little or not even anything at all. So my suggestion for you would be to try out several more sections in that way, applying a little bit more pressure each time to cut down your timing, so that rather than 4.5 minutes on the initial read, you could go down to 4 to 3.5 to 3 and see if you can keep it at 3. In most cases, not all, certainly some passages are harder than others, but overall getting that time down.
Yeah, that's, I'm going to try on that. And unfortunately, it's the case with the flex that there is more weight on the reading comprehension now than in the past, where logical reasoning had twice the reading comprehension. So, and I started actually learning with the reason. In the beginning of the first month, I focused mostly on logical reasoning. At the time, we didn't know there was a flex exam. And that's when I took that, That was my most focus. But then now I realized that maybe I have to focus on 3 sections equally, because the reading comprehension has the same weight at the end of the day.
True, but I'll add the caveat that logical reasoning and reading comp are very closely tied. So what you do for one will help for another more than you might expect.
Okay.
And you want the highest accuracy regardless.
Yeah, I see.
But keep at it. I'm going to send you some links to the reading comp master classes that may give you some new ideas on how to approach it as well. I want you to start there, not to start at the beginning of the course simply with the game stuff. You may not need the games as much. It sounds like the reading comp would benefit you more. So jump into that part right away.
Sure. That's good. I have another question regarding, you have sent me recently, I think 2 days ago, the plan for 1 month for logical, for the 3 sections, right? I think I did most of the logical games already in the past. I bought that plan, I think 2 months ago, and I've done most of the logic games. I haven't completed both the logical reasoning and the reading comprehension, but should I just do them again, or as I approach the test, or should I switch to other type of logical games? Do you have other plans where I actually just skip these questions, or like, because I have done them already, did I do more of them again, or?
Yeah, I would suggest you jump into the logical reasoning portion or the reading comp. I'll send you a longer term plan after we get off this call, and you can simply skip the logic games and jump into the logical reasoning.
Cool. Yeah.
And I would also suggest that you jump into the course with the reading comp master classes as well.
Yeah. That's actually, I'm considering taking mostly the master classes for, the master classes, I'll tell you my score. I usually score between 152 to 154. Is this range for the master class? I started with 138 back in April, and then that's what I improved to. But should I start with, is that the range? How do we decide which kind of class should I take based on my score?
It's not even really based on your score. It's based on what you've done up to that point. So if you've got the basics down with the foundation in terms of what are the different question types, what are some general approaches, that's the foundational material. Once you've worked through that, then the master classes contain more advanced techniques, assuming you've already gone through the previous material. But you can benefit from them a lot, even if you were in the 140s or the 130s. They're just giving you next level approaches.
I see. Cool. That's cool. Okay.
Yes, you can jump in now.
Yeah. I think I'll start with the master classes. And how do we? So I realized there is a master classes and there is group sessions. And how do I benefit mostly from that? Is it just group discussions to ask questions, or do you actually bring new material there, or new techniques? What is the format of that class?
It's all of the above. I'm always experimenting and trying out different things. There's no one way, but I have the recordings all inside the course. And so I'd say if you want to know what they're like, just watch the recordings of the previous ones, of the most recent ones. So for example, in the workshops, I'll cover some general concepts regarding a question type, and then we'll go through several problems of that type. In the group coaching mastermind calls, we'll do some hot seat coaching. And I'll also invite students to give presentations on different topics to clarify their understanding. And you'll see the recordings inside the course. You'll see how it's changed over time. But I would say we've got one coming up this Monday. So watch the most recent one or two, because they best reflect the direction that the courses are evolving in. And you'll get a sense of what it's like. If you ever have any particular questions related to the topic of that class, just email me in advance, and I'll do what I can to address it during the class if you're not able to make it.
Nice. Sure. That's great. And regarding the admission school, should we keep these questions later after we take the LSAT, or and once we start applying to schools, or should we start actually asking these kind of questions?
Admissions questions?
Yeah, admission questions.
Yeah, I actually run classes covering admissions as well. I have law school application essay workshops inside the course. I've also been playing with admissions mastermind calls where we do group coaching on the admissions side. So handling questions and dilemmas around diversity statement, optional essays and addenda, character and fitness, all of that. So I'm covering all of that too. I have classes devoted to it.
Nice. That's cool. Okay, great. These are the questions that I have.
Fantastic, Faisal. Well, I'm really glad we connected. Please keep in touch and let me know if you need anything at all. And I hope to see you in class soon.
All right, good. Sure. Thank you
Take it
so
easy.
much.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.